back. Let me just say how grateful I am and how happy it made me feel. My heart smiled by all of the feedback and the comments and the responses to my first question of what are you afraid of? I just want to clarify something. This is not a fear series. This is not about, I'm not going to be covering fear forever. This is about purpose. This is about discovering our purpose in our life and knowing what we're called to do. And before we can get there, there's so many voices and doubts that we hear from other people that we have in our own minds that hold us back from that. And so I wanted to start with fear. We're starting there. This is not the end point, okay? It's a marathon, not a sprint, okay? That being said, I was serious about this, you guys. I told you, I asked you a question. I said, I asked you to talk to me about what your fears were, and you did. And I told you I was going to be writing them down, and I was going to be making notes, but I wrote my list down as well. So here's what I heard from y'all, and here are some of my fears that I can think of. And these are the ones that I wrote down for me are the most immediate ones that seem to recycle through my mind all the time. So let's get started, right? Here's the list of your fears that you shared with me, and I respect you so much, and I love you for it. And we're gonna go on this journey together, all right? This is not just about you. This is about me too. I'm growing as you grow, okay? Uncertainty, failure, something bad happening to my family, dying alone in old age, the dark, wild snakes. Yeah, as opposed to tame snakes. I don't think I'd like either one, but whatever. Uncle Sal, and I love you for this, man. And this hit home for me, by the way, of the times that I did not do what God asked me to do. I'm going to get back to that. Not having enough. So for whatever reason, some of us grew up without any money and struggling to pay bills and figuring out how we were going to get by. And that mentality has carried on with us into our adulthood life. And we still have this poverty mentality of not having enough. But there's also millionaires and people who never needed financially, and they still have a poverty mentality. There's this feeling of not having enough. Deep. I really love that one. Not being fulfilled in life and finding true happiness. And so in future videos, I definitely plan on talking about finding true happiness and finding that fulfillment in your life. Losing my soulmate. Yeah, that would tear me up too. I couldn't imagine losing Alana, my wife. I'm afraid of ourselves. One person, Mick and Josh Lewis, on Facebook said, we're afraid of ourselves because we know how great we actually can be. It's pretty deep. Not living up to family expectations. How many of us have families that expect so much of us, and we feel this pressure, just like a weight on our shoulders, that we're not going to ever please them. Or not living up to the expectations that your children have for you, which, by the way, could still be expectations that you're putting on yourself as an example for your children. And of course, we had a couple of y'all, my cousins, who said spiders. Of course. I don't like spiders either, y'all, but who doesn't like spiders? Now I'm going to share with you some of my fears. And these are the ones that more recently, I'd say within the last 10 years, have been hitting really close to home. And this is not very easy for me to share, even though, I'm so open to sharing most times, but now I'm putting this out there. I'm putting this out to the world. YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else, and people who don't even know me are going to know about my fears. But let's do this, right? No more fear. Let's just go for it. I'm afraid of not being good enough. And I don't know why that that hits so close to home. But that fear of not being good enough. And we'll kind of dig a little deeper into why these things cut so deep. I think that not feeling good enough comes from our foundation, comes from, the environment we were raised in. And yeah, we're going to get into that one. You can tell that one, that's the one I'm fighting the most, I think. I'm afraid of failing. And there's so many opportunities out there for me and for you. And it seems like most of the time I just focus on failing. And what if I don't do good, right? What if I don't do good? What if I actually fail and embarrass myself? Then what happens? Then what next? What will people say? What will people think? And this one I shared in my last video about the parable of the talents. And immediately when I read this parable, I knew this was me that I was reading about. But knowing my gifts and my talents and not doing anything with them, burying my treasure. I think over the time, especially since about 18, when I moved away from home and I went to college, I had so much time alone to reflect and look back at my past and see where I came from. I looked at where I was currently, and then I could see this blurry image of what I wanted to be, just like somewhere out here, And I didn't know how the heck I was going to get there based on who I was, based on where I came from. But I knew when I read this parable, I knew it was like God was saying, you have talents, you have gifts. So I became convinced of that, but then I was that third servant that was afraid. And so I buried my talents. I buried my treasure. But that's why I'm here in front of you today, right now, because no more. No more. I'm stepping out and I'm doing this. And I want you to do this with me. Whoever feels inspired and encouraged, I want you to do this with me. Now, on the flip side of not being good enough and failing, I'm also afraid of my own success. I'm also afraid of being great. Because once you become convinced that God has called you to something, and you know what you're good at, because you've seen proof of evidence of it when you talk to people and you get feedback from people, or you see lives that you've changed, then you begin to believe, man, maybe I can do this. Maybe I am good at this. Maybe I can be great at this. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But what happens if I'm really good at it? What happens if I'm actually successful at this? What happens if I'm great? Then what? Then what do I do? Because then the fears that creep in are, man, I got to maintain this image of greatness, right? This other people are just going to expect them to be on 10 all the time and always winning and always successful. And I don't think life is like that. I mentioned in the last video that a no is not the final answer. It's just the beginning of your next attempt. Failure is not the end all be all. Failure is just the beginning of your next attempt. And that's where my mind is now. My mind is not, oh my God, they said no, I'll never be able to do this. No matter how passionate or no matter how much I believe that I'm good at this, within myself, my own voice, my own David inside here tells me how good I am at communicating and connecting people with resources, or just connecting with another human being or inspiring people. What are other people going to think? I could tell myself that all day. I sing beautifully. I'm a dope artist. I'm a dope writer. You know what? I'm just kind-hearted, and people love that, and people need that. I'm a great teacher. I'm a great leader. But what do other people think, right? And so those are those voices that challenge you in your mind. You have you wanting to believe how good you are, how great you could be,
But then this other one over here is just kind of hovering. Yeah, but why? Why would you think that you're that? And so anyways, I'm doing this. This is real. This is happening. I'm going to walk this journey. I'm going to actively pursue my purpose. And I'm starting with fears. I'm starting with what has been holding me back for years from actually not just discovering my purpose, but going to get it. I want this. This is for me. Just say that out loud. Whatever it is that you know you've been wanting, that passion that burns inside that you can't stop thinking about, that you can't stop doing in your daily lives, no matter where you are. Say it, proclaim it. I want it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to go after it. And let's start there, all right? I love you guys. More to come. I'm going to try to do this at least once a week, but I want more feedback. Some homework for you. Please, your thoughts after reflecting on your own fears, after answering the question of what am I afraid of? What started going through your mind? Did that spark any other dialogue within yourself or conversations with other people? Leave that please in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think and what you have to say. And if you're a first time viewer of this, my name's David. I'll be here. We're on our journey to discover what makes you so great and finding our purpose in life and pursuing that and just being proud of ourselves and infecting other people around us to be great themselves. All right. God bless you guys. I love you, whether I know you or not. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. This is a real thing. We're doing this. I'm here. That's Rocket. Rocket, be quiet, boy.
I do want to say I heard your feedback and all the comments on YouTube. By the way, please like this video down below, subscribe, you can hit that little bell button. So every single time I make a video, you'll get a notification. I did also hear about the video length, and I promise I won't be making 28-minute videos that often.